YA book review for you. I know it's been a while. I don't think I'm going to be posting weekly anymore. I know for a while I was even posting bi-weekly, but I haven't really been spending a lot of money on bookish boxes, and I was kind of in a reading slump for a while. I used to read between like 5 and 8 books a month, and this book is the first book I've finished since June, even though I attempted 3 other books. So I think that I don't want this to become a chore, so I'm just going to upload videos when I feel like it, either about writing or a book that I've read, or if I do get a book box or something like that, just so that it still remains fun for me. But the book I finished that got me on my reading slump is My Plain Jane. This is written by a trio of authors that are popular YA authors, although I've never read any of their other books. So this is Cynthia Hand, Jodi Meadows, and Brodi Ashton. Last year I read My Plain Jane, and I absolutely adored it. It was cute and it was funny, and I gave it 4 stars. I think I'm going to give this one 5 stars for getting me out of my slump. Usually I reserve 5 stars for something that was a little bit more earth-shattering, but if this is, I think I started a Stephen King book. I started the 2nd book in the Dune series. I started Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas, and I stopped at page 12, and nothing was working. So I think it deserves 5 stars just for getting me out of my reading slump. So this is loosely based on Jane Eyre, whereas like My Lady Jane was based on Lady Jane Grey. So there's always like a famous Jane incorporated. This also has Charlotte Bronte in it, and then it incorporates like Mr. Rochester, and there's like a ghost hunting society, and Jane and Charlotte are at like an orphanage together, and then Jane goes to be a governess at Mr. Rochester's, and then it alternates perspective between an agent of the ghost hunting society named Alexander, Charlotte's perspective, and then Jane's perspective, although it's all 3rd person. There are some cute and kitschy like Harry Potter references, and I think there was a Lord of the Rings reference, and there's just some pop culture references which are really fun. The dialogue is great, the plot is complex but not overly complex. You know, I'm not really sure what sucked me into it. Like, I think the first time I read it, I got like 30 pages in, and I was just like, yeah, this is what I need. It's not too weighty, but it's not so lighthearted that it's kind of like cheesy or fluffy in any way. And I've never read Jane Eyre, so I actually had no background. Like, I've read a synopsis of it before, but I had no background going in, so I didn't care how loosely based it was on it or like how accurate it was. I really loved the ghost hunting aspect of it, because I thought that so it turns out like Jane can see ghosts, which we learned kind of early on, but it just really added that paranormal element that I love about books, certain books that like, you know, or fairies and urban fantasy and stuff like that I tend to enjoy. This is a period piece. It does take place during that, I'm not sure if that's the 1800s, I don't know what setting that is, and it does take place like in England and around London, but it's just, you know, and then you get snippets of Charlotte Bronte's writing in there, and it's kind of fun. I did have to read like Wuthering Heights, and I'm sure I read another one because I was an English major at some point, but I'm not really a classics person. I don't know, I mean, I think I was at one point, I'm just not anymore. But this is such a fun read. So if you're looking for something with paranormal elements, a little bit of romance, and something that kind of twists some historical things on its head, then My Plain Jane is an excellent choice. So you should check it out. And if you haven't checked out My Lady Jane, which the cover is just as gorgeous as this one, then you should look into that too. I guess they're going to have a 3rd one. I'm kind of excited. So in the meanwhile, happy reading.